I want to thank everybody for coming to this press conference this afternoon. It's something this issue is very important, not only to students, but to New Yorkers across the state. And I want to thank the media for showing up. I'm Assemblyman Jose Peralta. I represent the 39th Assembly District, which is part of Jackson Heights, Corona, and Elmhurst. And I am a CUNY alum. I attended Queens College, and I was also part of University Student Senate while I was at Queens College. So I got the opportunity to visit many of the campuses throughout the City University of New York. And today I want to talk about something that's very, very pressing for the students and for anyone who's coming back to school, who's coming back to a higher education institution. I want to start off by giving a quote. It says something like this: "Books are a big scam. They make a mint. It's a huge racket." Believe it or not, these are the words of President Obama, February 22nd, 2008, while he was on a campaign trail, when he was talking to a group of college kids at the University of Texas Pan American in Edinburgh. President Obama used these words about the textbook issue. As a member of the Higher Education Committee in the New York State Assembly, this is one of the first of many issues that I'm going to be tackling throughout my tenure. Because as a member or as a graduate at the City University of New York, I understand what students have to go through every year when it comes to buying books, when it comes to paying tuition, when it comes to making sure that they get affordable higher education. And time again, these road obstacles are put in their path. Textbook prices are not only a burden to most students, but they've become a significant barrier to access to higher education, especially during these tough economic times. On average, college students spend about $1,000 a year for textbooks that are absolutely necessary. And the ridiculous thing about this, besides the prices, is that the average shelf-life of these textbooks is about 3.5 years before a new edition is published. So in essence, that means that every graduating class gets to see a new version of the same textbook, where most of the time only small irrelevant information has been changed. But yet, the prices are jacked up a whopping 58% for the brand new edition. So picture this. Picture them changing the edition because they got a glossy new cover. They changed a word here or there. And on top of that, now they're going to charge you an extra 58% for having the same content in that book in the previous edition. The unemployment rate across the nation is 7.6%. It is expected that here in New York State, we're going to lose over 180,000 jobs. That's almost as many people in the CUNY system alone. So we have to really worry about what's happening when we talk about the unemployment rate. And as it's been studied in years past, every time there's a recession, the higher the unemployment rate goes, the more people choose to go back to school, to either change their careers or to enhance their degrees. So in other words, we should expect an influx of people coming back to the higher institutions, coming back to CUNY, coming back to SUNY, private or independent colleges. So the question remains, if more people are coming back to school because they lost their jobs, tuition rates are about to be jacked up to $600, both SUNY and CUNY, which means that for a 4-year program in both CUNY or SUNY, you're going to have to end up paying between $18,000 and $20,000 for 4 years respectively. You add to that $4,000 worth of books. How will people afford an access to quality higher education? $1,000 a year in textbook purchases. That's an amazing 23% when you compare that to senior college tuition at a SUNY campus. It's 25% at a CUNY campus, 28% at a community college. In April of 2008, NYPER came out with a must-read report. I have a copy of it right here, where the report describes the issues, the problems, and the possible solutions to these outrageous publishing practices that are practically extorting and holding students hostage when it comes to gaining access to higher education. The report points out that students usually do not receive enough financial aid to cover the cost of these textbooks. It also mentions that 66% of college students in New York State graduate programs and undergraduate programs come out with a student loan debt and on average carry $21,000 worth of debt. So while textbook prices have gone up double the inflation rate over the last few years, publishers are making a killing off of the backs of students. The report also mentions the leading causes of these high textbook prices. One being faculty, and although the faculty tends to choose the textbooks, it's the students who have to end up paying for the books. And the faculty have to be a little bit more price sensitive to these books. Two, a lack of competition in the market. Since only 5 firms control this industry, Thomson, McGraw-Hill, Wiley, Houghton Mifflin, and Pearson. All 3, publishing new editions too frequently. We go back to the fact that it's published every 3.5 years. A new edition comes out every 3.5 years. 4, providing inadequate disclosure to the faculty in terms of what are the prices that the faculty should know so that they can inform their students. And 5, the practice of bundling textbooks with these extras that drive up the prices and undermine resale. These extras like CD-ROMs, web codes, and other supplements. The report finally discusses possible legislative solutions. It talks about 2 bills, one on the state level and one on the federal level, both which, since the report has been published, have passed. But it doesn't get enacted until, one doesn't get enacted until June of 2009, which is the Textbook Access Act, which requires publishers to disclose book prices to faculty and gives the faculty the right to order unbundled books if they choose. And 2 is the federal bill, which doesn't get enacted until July of 2010, which is the Federal Higher Education Act, which requires that CD-ROMs and extras be sold separately. And full disclosure for publishers are required by the colleges. And it also calls for an international standard book number, the ISBN numbers. This in printed form and online form, so that the course schedules, so that students can comparison shop, so that students can take these numbers and go online or go to any Barnes & Nobles or other bookstores and comparison shop. But I feel we need to do more, especially on a state level, because it's the students that are paying the price. And that's why I've introduced legislation that says on any SUNY or CUNY campus that the Board of Trustees of both SUNY and CUNY will tend to create an academic review board that will review textbooks sold, purchased, or used for academic purposes on all New York State campuses. This board will be made up of 12 members, and their role will be to implement cost control policies. This will help monitor prices, independent of faculty and administrators, so that way we don't have the publishers calling the shots. I'm also in support, and I'm co-sponsoring Bill 1610 in the Assembly, which I'm pretty sure many students here will be happy to know that this bill provides a deduction in determining personal income tax for the cost of textbooks up to $1,000. So in essence, if you purchase $1,000 worth of books, you'll be able to deduct that on your personal income tax. So that will help students a long way.